Hello and welcome to Chapter 29 of A Call from the Stars, A Call to Arms. Point of View. Overview of the Terran Assault Fleet returning home to Sol 3. Everyone watched on their particular devices how each of the ships were coming in. Everyone kept looking for particular ships, hoping that they would get word on their loved one coming down. However, the comms were completely flooded. Even the civilian market was being overwhelmed, with everyone making plans and sending jubilant messages, saying how they were so happy that everyone was home after such a trying time. The war had been won, and everyone was just happy it was all over and they could finally take a breath. As the dropships all came down, everyone was holding signs. The crowds had amassed in the safety areas, holding not only signs, but the children that had been born while the soldiers were away. Inside the crowd, which was mostly human, at least 88% human, there were specklings of different alien species. Our lizard and the PZ were there, all with wide eyes, waiting for their loved ones to show. All the dropships made it down before any of them opened up the doors, and when they opened up the doors, the cheers stopped. The humans had decided that people would always remember what the cost of this conflict was. As the massive doors on each of the dropship opened simultaneously around the planet, honor guards walked forward, each one holding on to the rails of a casket of one of their fallen. Each one, in perfect synchronous time, walked forward and walked straight towards the crowd. What the crowd didn't see was that a whole group of vehicles had been lined up, each adorned with whatever particular religion or station that person had, and with a more meticulous precision, each of the caskets was loaded one by one. The crowd was silent except for the cries of a few children. The mothers, of course, tried to keep their ones quiet as a sign of respect. Everyone knew this, and everyone did their best to understand it. For non-violent species like the lizard or the PZ, they didn't fully understand the gravity of the situation until they saw lines and lines of caskets being brought out. They didn't understand this is ways that humans honor their fallen. With each of the vehicles loaded, it would move and another one would take its place. And this dance continued for almost an hour. When the last one was loaded, a call was sent out for them to form ranks. And again, with practiced precision, they moved in. And they looked across each of the crowds they were standing in front of. And with the loudest booming voice their commander could muster, "Battalion! Company! Attention! On the command to fall out, you will fall out and you will grab a hold of your family members. And I'll see you in 5 days. Fall out!" And with that, every single one of them would run to their family members, grab a hold of them, and hold them tight. Everyone that was part of the procession ran for their families. Those that didn't see their partners spun around as more soldiers came out of the dropships, basically sprinting down to find their loved ones, weaving through the crowds, looking all over, grabbing their spouses, picking them up, holding them close, caressing their young children, just so happy to be home again. There was one PZ female that was frantically looking around. She was with her sister as she looked back and forth, trying to find a particular one. They didn't know if this was even the right ship. They began to panic. And then a hand reached for her shoulder. When she turned, she could barely recognize him. There, standing in front of her, was Battalion Commander Sin, and he just looked in her eyes and said, "Honey, I'm home." And with that, she jumped into his arms, and just like so many, he held her so close he didn't want to let go. At that moment, she began to fully understand, to a degree she never figured out, the duality of humans. The duality of humans confused all of them. How could they do such wonderful, amazing things, create such glorious pieces of technology, and yet still be able to be so violent? They had all seen the videos of the last charge on the alien world, taking their greatest stronghold. The violence that came from there was something that made most people lose any appetite they would have for a week. But as he held her tight, raising her off the ground to the point where her feet were up almost to his knees, she could feel that which was inside every human: the passion, the creativity, the respect, all of it. All those fancy words that people say about humans, some of them are contradictory to each other. The love, the rage, apathy, empathy, it all made sense to her at that point. It was a day of true celebration across not only Earth, but all her colonies, all her satellites. The war was over, and the soldiers had come home. However, knowing what's going on around the universe, they might not have been so jubilant. They might have been worried.